The liberal media seems to be deflecting concerns about the president's age, even after some new and bizarre Biden moments just this weekend. Just listen to the way he wrapped up a Connecticut speech on Gun Control Friday.
I'm going to stand in front of each section. No, I really mean it. And if you can see the camera, they can see you. And it's the least consequential part of this whole meeting for you, I promise. All right? God save the Queen, man.
It is unclear to which Queen Biden was referring. That head-scratching comment followed the president's awkward joke about Eva Longoria at the White House screening of the movie Flamin' Hot.
Your debut as a director, adding another accomplishment to an already incredible career. We've known each other a long time. She was 17, I was 40. That's it. But thank you.
And there were also these cringy moments this past weekend.
We have plans to build a railroad from the Pacific all the way across the Indian Ocean. The Build Back Biden, Build Back Better. Don't make me a dog-faced lion pony soldier. I might add, if I didn't, I'd be sleeping alone. You have to explain. All right, where are we going?
Oh, well, I hope your weekend went better than his. Awkward moments like those may explain why a recent poll found that nearly 2/3 of voters surveyed think President Biden is too old for a second term, but the media appears to be covering for him. Axios writing this: Biden's quirky aphorisms are sometimes weaponized by Republicans to portray the 80-year-old president as being in mental decline. But Biden has been using unique phrases for years, and even some of his aides aren't exactly sure what he means. Meanwhile, others in the liberal media, they are gushing about the president's busy campaign schedule.
And now let's get this number: 20 fundraisers on the books between now and the end of June, involving the president, the vice president, and other top cabinet officials involved with this operation as well. So a big effort underway here, Alex.
Wow, 20 between now and the end of June. That averages to more than one a day. That's a lot.
That's a lot. You know, Kennedy, quirky aphorism, as Axios says, or like the decline of an 80-year-old man.
And it doesn't even have to do with his age. It is his mental capacity. I know a lot of 80 and 90-year-olds that could run circles around the president. I wish they were running for office because, you know, I look at these and I'm wondering, like, how bad does it have to get for people to admit that this is a problem? This is a major problem because also we aren't getting the straight story from his medical team. They're incredibly vague. And I've been asking for this since day one. Remember how hard they went after former President Trump's doctor? Why don't we have the same level of enthusiasm and skepticism for our current president? We need to know so much more, and it shouldn't be good enough for people that this is North Korean level propaganda where people go, yes, Kim Jong-un is skinny and stable. Yeah. Back to you, Chuck.
You're right. And to your point, I mean, President Trump seems to be way more with it in the same age range as Biden. But, you know, Bill, I think Republicans need to take a note of caution here because there was a North Carolina focus group and 9 of the 11 said, look, you know, we see the decline of President Biden. However, we would still vote for him. And Biden's running a pretty strategic campaign going into Philadelphia where he shaved off some numbers from Republicans, small numbers in these key areas that flip the state.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. There's a lot to unpack here. Cut me off when you're ready. With regard to the age thing, the Philadelphia Inquirer had a quote. Robert Pate, he was a union member who was at the event. He's 42 years old. He said age is not a concern for him because his age brings experience. I don't know how many Democrats are thinking that way, but this Democrat is. There's a reason why 2 weeks ago we were reporting that he was going to rely on surrogates and celebrities and social media to push the campaign out there because he wasn't going to be on the road a lot. I mean, just the clips you showed right there showed why there would be trepidation to do a lot of campaigning. Let's see how much they commit. But at that event over the weekend, he said they, Republicans, they're coming for your jobs. They're coming for your future. They're coming for the future we're building for your kids and your grandkids. So that's a bit of a fear message, I think, that you're going to hear throughout the campaign. Now, with regard to Pennsylvania, he beat Donald Trump by 1.2 percentage points, won the overall state by 80,000 votes. But in Philadelphia alone, he took nearly 500,000 raw votes. If you're a Democrat running in Pennsylvania, that's where you win. He is going to be in Philadelphia a lot
Yeah.
this campaign time.
Yeah, he is. And in these big counties, Luzerne, Westmoreland, Washington, he pulled just enough votes to win the state.
Westmoreland, the west side of the state. I say he'll be in Philly a lot because that's where you go to get votes, but it's very close.
Yeah.
To Wilmington, Delaware.
I was just going to say that.
It
He
is
can
close.
basically
That's
get
a
on
good
the
point.
bike if he can stay on it and get there.
Yeah, Harris.
You know, I just want to add to what Bill was saying about, all these events and what they look like and that sort of thing and why you might go there. The news anchor from the other network who said 20, that's almost one a day. Well, they're on average 30 days in a month. We haven't seen him do that many days anywhere except for Delaware. I mean, seriously, he spends, a third of his time at home in one of those two houses? So I'm just wondering, where does he get to the point where he actually talks to the public? Because right now, he's kind of speaking at everybody, but he's got to do some roundtables. He's got to do this. When you go to Iowa, and if you're being challenged inside your party, I don't know, Gavin looks a little too lovey-dovey. Maybe he comes for him, I don't know. Bobby Kennedy Jr. is coming for him, and people doubt whatever. He's got 20% of support right now. But when does he start to talk with the American people? And can he handle a roundtable of 6 to 12 people rather than talking to the masses in Philadelphia?
We'll see if it happens. Right.
That's the key distinction, Harris. I think that's exactly right, because these fundraisers, it's New York, Maryland, Illinois. He has 4 in San Francisco. So some
Rich
of these
and
are
left.
like one-stop fundraisers. I've been to fundraisers with the president. You swoop in. It's a pretty small crowd often. You go, the president speaks, he's out. It's a pretty easy event versus, DeSantis being out in Nevada or Trump holding a rally, interacting with voters, a roundtable. There is a categorical difference.
Right, and the difference that I see, on one side of the aisle, you have a figurehead. You have a shell vessel that has long since declined from anything resembling an actual commander-in-chief. And on the other side of the aisle, you have potential leaders who are campaigning on the strength of their own 2 feet with a clear vision for the party and how they would lead it. There is no saying, no even implication that the army of surrogates are actually talking mouths for the current president. No. They're all just party affiliates. And that's why, in part, their shotgun message is so disparate from each other, which the Biden administration has said essentially, well, yes, that's okay, and we know that a little bit of that diversity is going to happen. The point I'm making is that is why the Democrats, to their unfortunate strength, have coalesced around, because they know it's for the party. It's not for him. We knew a long time ago that there was only mush in between the ears. I am sick of my commander-in-chief being an absolute dearth of leadership, an absolute dearth of any type of competence. And I'm pretty sure a lot of other people are too. And a quick final point about the Eva Longoria grab, which I find distasteful. Where is the feminists? Where is the woke left who reminded us after 4 women came forward while President Biden was then campaigning, which induced him to release a video in 2019 saying, I will be more mindful and more respectful of women's personal space. I remember that video from then candidate Joe Biden. It appears he has lost what he campaigned on, and now as president has reverted back to a dirty old man.
Kennedy, last one for you. There was a hoodie-wearing John Fetterman standing next to President Biden, and apparently these two are going to rebuild I-95 together. I want to see if Kennedy has some hope.
I would just really like to, the 95, obviously that, you're pretty much preoccupied with 95, and I know I certainly am too, and we know it's a major aidery. He is here to commit to work with the governor and the delegation to make sure that we get this fixed quick, fast as well, too. This is a president that is committed to infrastructure, and then on top of that, the dual kind of law of the inflation bill.
He was trying to say infrastructure. He said inflation and infraction. I said a few things. I actually feel very badly for the senator from Pennsylvania. I don't think that he should be subjected to these public events and the scrutiny that comes along with it. It's sad he's not up to the job. And, I don't say that from a place of politics. I say that from a compassionate, humane place where We are subjecting people who should be cared for elsewhere and not in the harsh glare of the spotlight that is only making them worse. And, you know, I'm not only talking about the president, but also the senator from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I feel badly for both of them and compassion for both of them. But at the end of the day, it's about constituents. It's about the American people. It's about getting the job done for them. And I don't know if these two are up for it. I'll let you decide.
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.